Imagine you are sitting in a room filled with people, yet you feel alone. You smile at others, you speak kindly, you offer help, but when the day ends and you're alone with your thoughts, there's a silence inside that hurts. Not because others ignore you, but because you often ignore yourself. Imagine waking up every day with a heavy heart. You do everything you're supposed to do: work, care for others, survive. But deep down, you carry this invisible weight. You feel like you're not enough, like something is missing, and you don't know how to fix it. Imagine trying so hard to be perfect for others that you forget to be kind to yourself. You chase approval, try to fit in, hide your flaws, but in the end, you still feel empty. You still don't feel loved, especially by the one person who should love you the most: yourself. Ask yourself, when was the last time you looked at yourself with the same compassion you give to others? When was the last time you truly sat with your feelings, without judging them? Why is it so hard to treat yourself the way you treat someone you love? Let's start with something simple. Think about how you speak to a friend when they're struggling. You offer comfort, patience, kindness. Now, think about how you speak to yourself when you're struggling. The difference is often painful, but it can change, and that's what this video is about. Welcome to Wisdom Writings. This is a space for those who seek peace, clarity, and a deeper understanding of themselves through ancient wisdom. If you find even one moment of truth in this video, we ask you, please share it with someone who needs it, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. And one more thing, there's so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. So please, if this content touches something real in you, help us grow this space. Subscribe now and stay with us on this journey. In this first part, we begin with the question, what does it really mean to love yourself? Not in a shallow way, not through empty affirmations, but in a way that is real and lasting. Buddhism teaches us that self-love isn't about ego or pride. It's about knowing the truth of who you are, without masks, without shame. Loving yourself begins with awareness. You must see clearly, not just the parts you're proud of, but also the pain, the fear, the wounds you carry. Buddhism calls this mindfulness, to look gently, without judgment. Because before love can grow, you must see what's there. Many people think self-love is something you get when you achieve more, look better, or fix yourself. But that's not the Buddhist path. The truth is, you don't need to become someone else to be worthy of love. You're already enough, you just forgot how to see it. Through this journey, we'll walk step by step into the heart of what it means to love yourself. Slowly, honestly, and without pretending. This isn't about chasing happiness. It's about meeting yourself, maybe for the first time, and saying, I see you, and you are enough. Shall we begin? The mirror of mindfulness. Seeing yourself without judgment. To truly love yourself, you must first understand yourself. Not through the lens of others, not through the distorted view of comparison or expectation, but through your own eyes, clear and free of judgment. This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, fully aware of who you are in this moment. It is the art of seeing yourself without the filters of past experiences or future anxieties clouding your vision. We all have a way of looking at ourselves, a mirror that reflects not just our physical appearance, but our inner world. Some see only flaws, others see only what they wish to become. But few can look into the mirror and simply see themselves. The truth is, we often live with so much noise in our minds. The judgments, the comparisons, the expectations from others, they all create a distorted reflection. It's like looking into a mirror covered in fog. You can't see the truth of who you are. Mindfulness, however, allows us to wipe away the fog, to see clearly. It doesn't tell us to change what we see, but to simply look without the need to fix or condemn. When you look at yourself in this way, with awareness, you might find that you have been too harsh on yourself all along. You might discover that your flaws are not the problem. It is the way you have been viewing them that has caused the pain. Think for a moment. How often do you criticize yourself? How often do you think that you are not enough, not good enough, not worthy enough? These thoughts, these judgments, are not truths. They are simply habitual patterns of the mind that have been formed over time, often without you even realizing it. These judgments create a story about who you are, and that story becomes the lens through which you view yourself and the world. In Buddhism, the concept of right view is crucial. It means seeing things as they truly are, not as we want them to be or as we fear them to be. This includes seeing ourselves without the layers of judgment and expectation. It means being willing to accept yourself as you are without the need to prove anything to anyone, including yourself. When you practice mindfulness, you start to notice these judgments and patterns of thought. You start to catch yourself in the act of criticism. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can either continue to follow the old script of self-judgment, or you can choose to let it go. This choice is where true freedom lies. Imagine you are standing in front of a mirror. Now, imagine that instead of seeing all the things you wish were different about yourself, you simply see yourself. You see your face, your body, your emotions, all of it. But there is no judgment. There is no desire to change anything. There is only acceptance of what is. And in that moment, you realize that you don't need to change a thing to be worthy of love. You're already complete, just as you are. This practice takes time. It requires patience and consistency. But over time, the more you practice mindfulness, the more you will notice the subtle shifts in how you see yourself. Slowly, the self-criticism will fade, replaced by a more loving, compassionate view of who you are. It is not about perfection. It is about seeing with clarity and understanding. We all have stories we tell ourselves, stories about our past, about our mistakes, about our failures. These stories shape our sense of self. But in mindfulness, we learn that these stories are not the truth of who we are. They're just stories. They're the product of our thoughts and perceptions, not the essence of our being. When you look at yourself through the lens of mindfulness, you begin to see yourself without the weight of these stories. You begin to see yourself as you truly are, not as someone defined by their past, not as someone limited by their mistakes, but as a person capable of growth, change, and love. But mindfulness is not just about being aware of your thoughts. It is about being aware of your body, your feelings, and your actions as well. It is about becoming present with all aspects of yourself. This is important because we often disconnect from our bodies, especially when we are feeling bad about ourselves. We may avoid looking in the mirror, or we may criticize our appearance. But mindfulness invites us to reconnect, to feel our bodies as they are, without judgment. This connection is not just physical, it is also emotional. Mindfulness helps us to observe our emotions without attaching labels like good or bad. It invites us to feel whatever comes up without the need to suppress or deny it. Emotions, after all, are part of being human. And when we allow ourselves to feel them without judgment, we create space for healing and growth. One of the most powerful aspects of mindfulness is its ability to ground us in the present moment. How often do we worry about the future or dwell on the past? How often do we let our minds race with thoughts of what could go wrong, what we might have done better, or what others think of us? These thoughts pull us away from the present, and in doing so, they rob us of the ability to truly see ourselves as we are. Mindfulness helps us to let go of this constant stream of thoughts. It helps us to return to the here and now, to appreciate the simple act of being. And when we are fully present with ourselves, without distraction or judgment, we begin to realize that we are worthy of love just as we are. We don't need to be perfect. We don't need to have all the answers. We don't need to meet anyone's expectations. We are enough simply because we exist. In the practice of mindfulness, there is no hurry. There is no rush to fix yourself or improve yourself in a certain way. The goal is not to change who you are, but to see who you are with clearer eyes. And in this process, self-love naturally begins to emerge. It's important to remember that this is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. But with each moment of mindfulness, with each breath you take, you are moving closer to a place of deeper self-understanding and self-acceptance. You are moving closer to the realization that you don't need to be anyone other than who you are in this moment. And in that space, self-love blossoms, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a steady, unshakable truth. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of kindness. You are worthy of acceptance. And all of this starts with how you choose to see yourself. So, the next time you stand in front of the mirror, remember this. Mindfulness is not about judging what you see. It is about seeing it all, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the imperfect, and accepting it without judgment. And in doing so, you will begin to experience the love that has always been within you. The roots of suffering. Why self-love feels so distant. In the quiet of the morning, you may find yourself thinking about the day ahead, the tasks, the responsibilities, the people you need to please. But somewhere in your mind, there's a nagging thought. Am I enough? You see, the problem is not in what you do or who you are on the outside. The problem is deeper, hidden in the corners of your heart where you may not always look. It's the way you see yourself. The way you treat yourself when no one else is around. The root of suffering isn't just in the hardships we face from the outside world. It's also in the way we turn on ourselves, judging, criticizing, doubting. In Buddhism, this is called dukkha, suffering. But dukkha isn't just about pain or sadness. It's about that underlying feeling of dissatisfaction that follows us throughout life. It's the restlessness, the hunger for something more, the sense that no matter how much we achieve, we're always left wanting. And at the core of this is the belief that we're not enough, that we need to be better to be worthy of love. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever looked at your reflection and thought, I'm just not enough? It's this belief, this deep-rooted doubt, that makes self-love feel so distant. You work hard. You do everything you can to make others happy, but somewhere inside, you feel like you're falling short. This is the suffering Buddha spoke about, the gap between who we are and who we think we should be. Why do we feel this way? Why is it so difficult to love ourselves? The answer lies in the stories we tell ourselves. From the moment we are born, we are conditioned to look for validation from the world around us. We're told we need to meet certain standards in our appearance, our success, our relationships, to be accepted, to be loved. But somewhere along the way, we forget the truth. Love doesn't depend on what we do, how we look, or what we achieve. True love, the kind that heals and nurtures, comes from within. Think of a flower. Does it bloom because someone tells it to? Does it wait for approval before it opens? No, it blooms because that is its nature. It doesn't compare itself to other flowers. It doesn't wish it were taller, brighter, or more perfect. It simply exists in its full beauty as it is. And so should we. But instead of embracing our nature, we try to force ourselves to be something we're not. We compare ourselves to others. We focus on our flaws. We criticize every imperfection. We build walls around our hearts to protect ourselves from the pain of not being good enough. But these walls, built from doubt and fear, keep us from seeing the truth, that we are worthy of love just as we are. Buddhism teaches that our suffering arises from attachment to our desires, to our expectations, and even to our self-image. When we cling to the idea that we need to be better, we are attaching ourselves to an illusion. We are chasing something that can never be fully attained because it's always changing. The moment you think you've reached perfection, you realize there's always something more to strive for. It's a never-ending cycle of disappointment. But here's the truth. Perfection is not the goal. Self-love is not about being flawless. It's about accepting yourself, imperfections and all. It's about seeing yourself clearly, without the filters and distortions you've put in place over the years. To truly love yourself, you must first recognize the source of your suffering. You must understand that the root of your pain isn't in what others think of you or in the mistakes you've made. The root of your suffering lies in your own mind. It's the way you see yourself, the way you believe you must change to be loved, the way you refuse to accept the beauty of your own being. This is where mindfulness comes in. In Buddhism, mindfulness is the practice of being fully present with whatever arises in your mind and body, without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, you start to notice the thoughts that cause your suffering. You begin to see how often you criticize yourself, how often you hold yourself to impossible standards, how often you feel not good enough. And with this awareness, you can begin to change. You can stop being your own enemy. You can stop trying to prove your worth to others, to live up to expectations that aren't even your own. Instead, you can simply be. You can stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am enough just as I am." It might feel strange at first, but with practice, this thought becomes a new way of being. The first step is to stop running from your pain. Stop trying to push it away or hide it behind distractions. Sit with it. Feel it. Let it rise and fall like waves in the ocean. And as you do, you'll realize that the pain is not something to be feared. It's just a part of the journey. And when you stop fighting it, when you stop labeling yourself as broken or unworthy, you begin to heal. Buddhism teaches us that everything is impermanent. The pain you feel today will not last forever. The doubts you carry will not always be there. But the love you cultivate for yourself, the acceptance you develop, this will stay with you, even in times of struggle. And it will be the foundation from which you grow. So, the next time you look in the mirror, don't see the flaws. Don't focus on the things you wish were different. Instead, see yourself as you truly are, a person worthy of love and compassion. The journey to self-love is not a destination. It's a practice, a commitment to yourself. And as you walk this path, you'll discover that the love you seek was never far away. It was within you all along. This is the root of the problem. We think love must come from somewhere else. But true love begins with you. When you stop searching for it outside, you start to realize that it has always been waiting within. You just had to stop, breathe, and allow it to surface. So, let the journey begin. You're not alone in this. Your struggle, your pain, your doubts, they are all part of the human experience. But they do not define you. You are not your suffering. You are the one who has the power to transform it, simply by recognizing your own worth. And that recognition is the first step toward real, lasting love. Detaching from the inner critic, silence the voice that hurts you. We all carry a voice inside our minds. It's the voice that speaks when we make a mistake, when we fail, when we feel we're not good enough. Sometimes it whispers softly, but at other times, it's loud and relentless. It's the voice of the inner critic, and it could be one of the most powerful forces preventing us from truly loving ourselves. Imagine you're trying something new, a hobby, a project, or maybe just talking to someone. As soon as you make a small mistake, the voice starts. You're not good enough. You'll never succeed. Why do you even try? It takes away your confidence. It makes you second-guess every move, and before you know it, you stop trying at all. This voice is the inner critic, and its job is to keep you small, keep you stuck in fear, and stop you from growing. But here's the thing, this voice is not you. It's a collection of old thoughts, judgments, and expectations you've gathered over the years. It's not truth. It's a pattern that you've learned to accept as part of who you are. The Buddhist teachings remind us that our minds are filled with noise, and much of that noise comes from untrue and harmful beliefs we've taken on. The real question is, can you hear the difference between the truth and the noise? This inner critic is powerful because it speaks in a way that feels familiar. It often sounds like the voice of someone who's criticized you in the past. A parent, a teacher, a friend, or even the culture around you. The voice becomes so ingrained in your mind that you start to believe it's your own. But if you step back and truly listen, you'll realize that this voice is not your true self. It's just a pattern, an old habit of thinking that doesn't serve you anymore. Buddhism teaches that everything is impermanent. That includes the negative thoughts and beliefs you carry. The anger, the shame, the fear, they're all temporary. They come and go, but we hold on to them as if they are part of us. We identify with them, thinking they define who we are. The first step to silencing the inner critic is to recognize that these thoughts are not permanent. They don't define you. Imagine you're standing on the edge of a river. The water is flowing past you, fast and strong, carrying leaves, sticks, and debris. If you watch the river for long enough, you'll see that nothing stays the same. The debris floats by, but it doesn't stay. The same is true for your thoughts. They come and they go, and you don't have to hold on to them. You can watch them, notice them, but you don't have to believe them. The key is detachment. Buddhism teaches that attachment to thoughts, especially negative ones, causes suffering. When we believe every thought that comes into our mind, we become trapped. We start to think that those thoughts are who we are. But detaching doesn't mean ignoring or repressing your thoughts. It means observing them without judgment, watching them pass by without getting caught up in them. When you do this, you begin to loosen the grip the inner critic has on your life. At first, detaching from the inner critic may feel impossible. The voice may seem too loud, too overwhelming, and too constant. But remember, the more you practice, the quieter that voice becomes. It's like learning to meditate. At first, your mind races and you may feel like you're doing it wrong. But with time, you learn to sit with the thoughts and let them be. The same applies to the inner critic. The more you observe it without reacting, the less power it has over you. One powerful way to detach is through mindfulness. When you notice the inner critic speaking, don't react with frustration or self-blame. Instead, simply notice it. Acknowledge the thought, but don't identify with it. You might say to yourself, there it is again. That voice telling me I'm not good enough. And then gently bring your attention back to the present moment. The more you practice this, the more you'll realize that these thoughts are not permanent, and they don't define who you are. Another way to detach is to question the inner critic. Is this thought true? Where did it come from? Is it helpful? Most often, the answer is no. The inner critic is based on old wounds, past mistakes, or societal expectations that no longer serve you. It's based on fear, not truth. And fear, as we know from Buddhist teachings, is an illusion. It's the fear of something that hasn't happened yet, the fear of failure, the fear of not being enough. But the more you face that fear, the less control it has over you. Buddhism also teaches that compassion is a powerful antidote to the inner critic. When the voice of judgment arises, try responding with kindness. Imagine if a friend came to you and shared the same negative thoughts you're having about yourself. Would you tell them they're not good enough? Would you criticize them for their mistakes? Of course not. You would offer compassion, encouragement, and love. And you can do the same for yourself. When the inner critic speaks, try responding with compassion. It's okay to make mistakes. You're still learning. You are enough, just as you are. This doesn't mean you'll never hear the inner critic again. It doesn't mean the thoughts will suddenly disappear. But it does mean that over time, you'll develop the ability to separate yourself from those thoughts. You'll stop believing that the inner critic defines you. You'll stop letting it hold you back. And slowly, you'll begin to hear a new voice. The voice of self-compassion, the voice of love, the voice that says, you are worthy, just as you are. As you continue on this journey, remember that silence is not about making the inner critic disappear entirely. It's about learning to create space between you and the voice. It's about learning to hear the voice for what it is, just a voice. And with that space, you can choose not to react. You can choose to let go. You can choose to love yourself, flaws and all. So the next time you hear that inner critic, take a deep breath. Observe the thought. Let it float by like a leaf on a river. And remind yourself that you are not your thoughts. You are so much more than that. Compassion in practice, becoming your own safe space. When we talk about compassion, many think it's something we give to others. And while that's true, the greatest act of compassion begins within us. It's one thing to show kindness and care to those around you, but to show that same kindness and care to yourself, that's where real transformation happens. Imagine for a moment, if you could be your own best friend. What would that look like? How would you talk to yourself? Would you offer yourself the same patience you offer a friend going through a tough time? Would you hold yourself with the same tenderness you would hold someone you love? Many of us struggle to be gentle with ourselves. We are our own worst critics. We expect so much, judge ourselves harshly, and offer only the tiniest bits of kindness when it feels like we've earned it. But imagine changing that. Imagine offering yourself love. Unconditional, no strings attached love. Wouldn't it be life-changing? Wouldn't it be like finding a place to rest after years of running? Compassion for yourself isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. It is the foundation on which every other relationship in your life can grow. Buddhism teaches that compassion is not just an emotion, but a practice. It's not something you simply feel when a mood strikes. It's something you choose every day. It's about holding space for yourself when you fail, when you stumble, when you don't meet your expectations. Compassion doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for honesty. It asks for presence. It says, I am here with you in this moment, no matter what. For many, self-compassion feels like a foreign concept. It might even feel uncomfortable at first, like you're not worthy of it. But that's the first illusion you need to let go of. No one is perfect. We all have flaws, weaknesses, mistakes. We all face challenges and experience moments of pain. Yet, we tend to show more compassion to others who make mistakes, who are imperfect. So, why not offer that same grace to ourselves? It starts with being kind to your own suffering. When you're hurt, do you berate yourself for feeling the way you do? Or do you allow yourself to feel it fully, with the understanding that pain, too, is a part of being human? When you experience a setback, do you let the inner critic take over, telling you that you're not good enough? Or do you respond with understanding, knowing that this moment doesn't define your worth? In those moments of difficulty, treat yourself as you would treat a child who has fallen down. You wouldn't scold them for getting hurt. You would pick them up, comfort them, and say, it's okay. You'll get through this. Why not say that to yourself? This is not about ignoring your mistakes or pretending everything is fine. It's about being gentle with yourself as you work through them. It's about offering yourself the same empathy and understanding you would offer someone you care deeply for. And the more you practice this, the easier it becomes to make compassion your default response, not only to yourself but to others as well. One of the most profound teachings of Buddhism is the idea of metta, which is often translated as loving kindness. It's the practice of wishing well for others, and the practice of offering loving kindness to ourselves. In the West, we often hear that we can't love others fully until we love ourselves. And while that's true, it goes deeper than just self-love. It's about truly accepting yourself in all your rawness and vulnerability. It's about allowing yourself to be imperfect and then offering yourself compassion in that imperfection. Self-compassion doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook or avoiding responsibility. It doesn't mean making excuses for yourself. It means acknowledging your flaws, your mistakes, and your pain, and responding with kindness and understanding. It means saying, I see you. I know this is hard, but you are worthy of love even in this moment. It means forgiving yourself, not because you've done nothing wrong, but because you deserve peace. You might be thinking, but I've done so many things I'm ashamed of. I've hurt people. I've failed. I've fallen short. But hear this. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are not your failures. The person you are, the person you were born to be, is already worthy of love, respect, and kindness, just as you are right now. Think of your life as a garden. Your mistakes, your past pains, the things you wish had been different, these are like the weeds. But they don't define the soil. The soil of your heart is deep, rich, and capable of growth. When you practice self-compassion, you are tending to the garden of your heart. You are pulling out the weeds, not with anger or frustration, but with patience and care, so that the beautiful flowers of self-love and acceptance can blossom. There will be times when it feels like the weeds are too many, when it feels like you've made too many mistakes. But remember, a garden takes time to flourish. The soil has to be nurtured, the seeds have to be planted, and the weeds have to be cleared one by one. And as you do this for yourself, you'll begin to see that, just like a garden, your heart will begin to bloom. Slowly, but surely, you will become more peaceful, more kind, and more at ease with yourself. Compassion also means forgiving yourself for not being perfect. It means letting go of the harsh expectations you place on yourself. You do not have to be better than everyone else. You do not have to be perfect. The world is full of imperfections. We are all learning, growing, evolving. Self-compassion is a gentle reminder that you are part of that process. To truly practice compassion, we must learn to silence the inner critic that so often says, "You are not enough." This voice is not the truth. The truth is that you are already enough, exactly as you are. You have the right to be kind to yourself, to accept yourself, and to offer yourself love without guilt or shame. It is a radical act of self-liberation. So start today. Start by being kinder to yourself. When you make a mistake, don't call yourself stupid. When you fail, don't tell yourself you're worthless. Instead, say, "I am learning. I'm growing. I'm doing my best, and that is enough." When you practice self-compassion, you create a safe space for yourself, a space where you can be who you truly are, free from judgment. This is the beginning of healing. It's the beginning of loving yourself, not just when you're at your best, but when you're at your lowest. It's the beginning of accepting yourself fully, with all your strengths and weaknesses, and saying, "I am worthy of love, no matter what." This practice of compassion is not a one-time thing. It is something you must return to again and again, like watering a plant. The more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. And soon, you will no longer need to remind yourself to be kind to yourself. It will just be who you are. And when that happens, you will discover something profound. The more you love yourself, the more you can love others. Embracing impermanence, learning to love who you are now. Life is a river. It moves and shifts, never the same as it was just a moment ago. Each day, each breath, each thought, everything is in constant motion. We often try to hold on to things, to freeze them in time, as if they were meant to last forever. But the truth is, nothing lasts. Not our joys, not our sorrows, not even ourselves. In Buddhism, there's a powerful teaching called impermanence. It tells us that everything in life is temporary. Our experiences, our feelings, our bodies, they all come and go. And this is not something to fear, but something to understand. Because when we truly understand the nature of impermanence, we can learn to love ourselves, not as a perfect, unchanging version, but as we are, right here, right now. So, why is this so important when it comes to self-love? It's simple. We often tie our sense of worth to things that are temporary. We look at our past mistakes, our failures, the parts of us that feel broken, and we think, "This is who I am." But that is not true. Who you are today is not defined by who you were yesterday, and it certainly won't be defined by who you are tomorrow. You're always changing, growing, learning, and becoming something new. And this is beautiful. When we embrace impermanence, we free ourselves from the need to be perfect. We stop judging ourselves for not being what we used to be, or for not being who we think we should be. Instead, we accept ourselves as we are in this moment, knowing that we will change, just as everything around us does. Our mistakes, our regrets, and even our past successes don't define us. They are part of the flow, part of the journey. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever looked back on a mistake or a painful moment and felt as though it still controlled you? You may have asked yourself, how could I have been so foolish? How could I have let that happen? But if you really look closely, that moment is gone. The person you were at that time is gone. And the wisdom you have now, the lessons you've learned, come from that impermanence. If you had stayed the same, unchanged, you wouldn't be who you are today. Loving yourself in the face of impermanence means accepting your flaws, your imperfections, and your past without letting them define you. It means seeing yourself as a beautiful, evolving being and knowing that it's okay to change, to make mistakes, and to grow. Impermanence also teaches us about the beauty of life's fleeting nature. Imagine a sunset. It's perfect, but it doesn't last forever. The colors shift, the light fades, and soon it's gone. But that does not make it any less beautiful. In fact, its very impermanence makes it precious. If it stayed the same, if it never changed, we would lose our appreciation for it. And the same is true for you. Your life, your body, your mind, everything about you will change. But that change doesn't take away your worth. It adds to it. Buddhism teaches that everything is interconnected, that nothing exists in isolation. This includes you. You are not separate from the flow of life, the river that carries everything forward. When you understand impermanence, you realize that you are part of something much bigger than yourself. You are a thread in the fabric of existence, and each moment, each breath, is an opportunity to weave yourself into the tapestry of life. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of a fixed self, the person we believe we should be. We often hold on to old ideas of who we were, or who we think we need to be, and then wonder why we feel disconnected or dissatisfied. But when we let go of these rigid ideas, we open ourselves up to the flow of life. We allow ourselves to be who we are, without the weight of expectations or comparisons. Embracing impermanence also means learning to let go. Let go of the things that no longer serve you. Let go of the need to control. Let go of the self-criticism that holds you back from truly loving yourself. It's in this letting go that we find peace. When you stop fighting against the changes, you can embrace the beauty of the present moment. This doesn't mean that you stop striving for growth. It doesn't mean you stop wanting to improve. It simply means that you stop measuring your worth by a fixed standard, by a version of yourself that no longer exists. You accept that who you are now is enough, and that each moment offers a new chance to grow, to learn, and to love. You see, the truth is that loving yourself doesn't depend on being perfect. It doesn't depend on being unchanging. It doesn't depend on meeting some ideal version of yourself. Loving yourself depends on accepting yourself as you are in this moment, knowing that you will continue to change, and that is okay. When you let go of the need to be something you're not, when you embrace impermanence, you free yourself. You free yourself from the pressure to be perfect, from the weight of past mistakes, and from the fear of the unknown. You give yourself permission to be human, and that is when self-love becomes truly powerful. Think about a flower. It blooms, it withers, and it dies. But in its brief time, it is beautiful. Its impermanence is part of its beauty. And so are you. Your life, your body, your heart. They are beautiful, not because they will last forever, but because they exist now, in this moment, and because you're growing, changing, becoming. You're not defined by what you were, nor by what you will be. You are defined by who you are right now, and that is enough. So embrace this moment. Embrace the beauty of impermanence. Love yourself for who you are, not who you think you should be. And remember, every change, every shift is part of the journey. It is part of the beautiful river of life. You don't need to wait until you are perfect to love yourself. You don't need to wait for a certain time or place. You can start right now, right where you are, knowing that just as the sun rises and sets, you too will grow, change, and bloom in your own time. And that, my friend, is something truly worth loving. So, the next time you look in the mirror, remember this. You are not a fixed image. You are not a moment frozen in time. You are a living, breathing, changing being, and that is where your beauty lies. Embrace it, love it, and trust that you are enough, just as you are right now. Self-acceptance through the Eightfold Path, walking with wisdom. In life, we often spend so much time trying to change ourselves. We think that if we could just be different, smarter, stronger, more successful, then we would finally love ourselves. But what if I told you that the path to true self-love is not through changing yourself, but through accepting yourself exactly as you are right now? This journey begins with a very simple truth. You are enough. There's no need to chase perfection or compare yourself to others. The key is in understanding who you truly are, without the filters of society's expectations, without the judgments you place on yourself. This understanding is what Buddhism calls right view, seeing things as they truly are. But how do we begin to see ourselves clearly, without the fog of self-doubt and judgment clouding our perception? The Buddha taught us about the Eightfold Path, a guide for living a life of wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. And each part of this path can help us find the love we are searching for within ourselves. The first step on the Eightfold Path is right view. This is about seeing yourself and the world without illusions. It's about seeing the truth of your existence, the reality of your experiences. Right view helps you to understand that everything is interconnected, that you are part of something much larger than yourself. This understanding can be incredibly freeing. It removes the pressure of needing to be perfect because you see that you are part of an ever-changing, ever-evolving world. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly who you will become. You simply need to be present in your life, accepting the person you are right now. The next step is right intention. This is about your heart's deepest desire, the intentions that guide your actions. Are your intentions coming from a place of self-compassion? Or are they rooted in fear, self-criticism, or the desire to impress others? To love yourself, you must ask yourself, what are your intentions when you act? Are they born from a place of kindness towards yourself? Or are they shaped by the need to meet external standards? When your intentions are rooted in compassion, you begin to act in ways that honor your worth. You stop striving to prove yourself to the world, and instead, you act from a place of inner peace and acceptance. Your actions, no matter how small, come from a desire to care for yourself and others. And this is how self-love begins to grow, through kindness, patience, and understanding. Right speech is another part of the Eightfold Path that plays a crucial role in self-acceptance. What are the words you speak to yourself? How do you talk to yourself when you make a mistake or when you feel inadequate? If you speak harshly to yourself, telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you'll never be successful, how can you expect to love yourself? In Buddhism, right speech encourages us to speak truthfully, kindly, and purposefully. The words we say to ourselves shape our reality. If you want to learn to love yourself, begin with your speech. Be gentle with yourself. Use words that encourage growth and self-compassion. When you make a mistake, instead of saying, I'm a failure, try saying, I've learned something important today, and I will do better next time. These simple shifts in language can transform the way you see yourself. The fourth step is right action. This is about living in a way that reflects your values and your true nature. When you act with integrity, when you make choices that align with your authentic self, you begin to build self-respect. Self-love isn't just about how you feel in your heart. It's also about how you live your life. Are your actions aligned with your values? Do you treat yourself with the same respect that you would treat someone you love? If you want to love yourself, act in ways that honor your own needs and boundaries. Take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. Don't push yourself too hard or sacrifice your well-being for the approval of others. Instead, take actions that support your growth, your peace, and your happiness. Every time you choose to act with integrity, you reinforce your self-worth. The next step on the path is right livelihood. This is about the work you do, the way you earn your living, and how it contributes to your overall well-being. Does your work bring you joy, or is it a source of stress and dissatisfaction? If you want to love yourself, it's important to find a balance between your work and your personal life. Your livelihood should not drain you or cause you to neglect your own needs. Instead, find work that aligns with your values, that brings you purpose, and that allows you to live in harmony with your true self. It's easy to get caught up in the pressure to succeed or to do what others expect of you. But the true path to self-love is about making choices that allow you to live authentically. Find work that nourishes your soul, even if it's not the most glamorous or lucrative. When you do this, you begin to honor yourself and your well-being. The sixth step is right effort. This is about cultivating positive habits and mental states. It's easy to fall into negative thought patterns, to focus on what you don't have or what you've lost. But to love yourself, you must make an effort to shift your mindset. Right effort encourages you to let go of negative thoughts and replace them with positive, empowering ones. This doesn't mean ignoring your struggles, but rather approaching them with a mindset of growth and resilience. When you make an effort to focus on the positive, to practice gratitude, to nurture your mind and body, you begin to create a foundation of love for yourself. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing to keep going even when things are difficult. It's about finding joy in the journey, not just the destination. Right mindfulness is the seventh step, and it teaches us to be present in each moment. How often do you find yourself distracted, lost in thoughts of the past or future? How often do you miss the present moment because you're caught up in worries or regrets? To truly love yourself, you must be present with yourself. When you are mindful, you can listen to your needs, your emotions, and your body. You can observe your thoughts without judgment, allowing them to pass without attaching to them. Mindfulness allows you to accept yourself exactly as you are, without trying to change anything. It helps you see the beauty in the present moment, in every breath, in every simple experience. By practicing mindfulness, you begin to develop a deep connection to yourself, to your body, to your mind, and to your heart. This connection is the foundation of self-love. The final step of the Eightfold Path is right concentration. This is about developing mental clarity and focus. In a modern world, our attention is constantly pulled in many directions. It's easy to lose focus, to feel scattered, to be pulled into anxiety. But when you practice right concentration, you learn to focus on what matters most, yourself. By cultivating concentration, you can develop a calm, clear mind that allows you to make better decisions, to act with intention, and to remain grounded in the present. With right concentration, you can develop a deep sense of peace and self-awareness. This mental clarity helps you navigate life's challenges with confidence, knowing that you are capable, worthy, and loved. You learn to focus not just on the external world, but on your inner world, the thoughts, emotions, and desires that shape who you are. The Eightfold Path isn't just a set of rules. It's a way of living that leads to deeper self-acceptance and self-love. By following this path, you begin to see yourself through the lens of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. You start to understand that you're not defined by your mistakes, your flaws, or your fears. You are defined by your ability to accept yourself fully, to love yourself as you are, and to continue growing along the way. The journey towards self-love is not an easy one. It takes effort, patience, and a willingness to face the truth of who you are. But with each step on the Eightfold Path, you will come to realize something incredible. You are already whole. You're already enough. All that is left is for you to recognize it. And when you do, the love you've been searching for will be right there, within you, waiting to be discovered. So walk this path with me, step by step. Let the wisdom of the Eightfold Path guide you to a deeper understanding of yourself. Let it show you the way to a love that is unconditional, unshakable and real. And know that with each step, you are getting closer to the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Meditations of the heart, daily Buddhist rituals for self-love. In the stillness of each day, there's a moment where we can breathe, where we can stop, and where we can simply be. This moment is not found in rushing through tasks or in the noise of the world. It is in the quiet pause between the breaths, in the space between thoughts, in the simplicity of just being present with yourself. Many of us live our days like we're running a race, always thinking of the next step, the next goal, the next thing we need to do. But what happens when you stop running for just a moment? What happens when you let go of the need to be somewhere else and simply allow yourself to exist? This is where self-love begins. Buddhism offers a gift, a simple yet powerful practice, meditation. But not just any kind of meditation. This is meditation rooted in love. Meditation that doesn't ask you to escape from yourself, but to turn inward, to listen, and to embrace what you find. In these practices, you are invited to rest in the space of your own heart. We often find ourselves caught in the cycle of self-judgment. We criticize the way we look, the things we've done, the choices we've made. The mind becomes a constant critic, never giving us a moment of peace. But meditation offers us the opportunity to step outside this cycle, to break free from the constant noise, and to return to the truth of who we are. Not the image we've built or the persona we show to the world, but the real, unfiltered self beneath it all. There's a Buddhist teaching that says, "You are already what you seek." We spend so much time looking for answers outside of ourselves, searching for the perfect conditions, the perfect relationships, the perfect moments that will make us feel complete. But the truth is, you don't need to search. You're already complete, right now, just as you are. Meditation helps us remember this truth. It invites us to sit with ourselves without the need to change anything. We don't meditate to become someone else. We meditate to become who we truly are. In the quiet of meditation, we can hear the whispers of the heart, whispers that remind us of our worth, our beauty, and our love. One simple meditation you could try is the loving kindness meditation, also known as metta. This practice is about sending love to yourself and to others, with no expectations, no demands. It begins with you, sitting quietly and repeating these words. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be at ease. May I live with peace. These words are not just empty phrases. They are a way of reconnecting with yourself, of remembering that you are worthy of happiness, of health, of peace. As you say these words, you may feel resistance, doubt, or discomfort. That is okay. Allow yourself to feel whatever arises. The beauty of this meditation is that it doesn't require perfection. It simply requires you to show up with an open heart. As you grow in this practice, you can begin to extend this loving kindness to others. Start with someone close to you, someone you care about. Then you can widen the circle, sending love to friends, to strangers, and eventually to all beings. In this way, the practice of self-love becomes a shared love, a love that moves beyond the boundaries of the self and touches the world around you. But self-love is not just about meditation. It is about the small moments in daily life when you choose to be kind to yourself. It is about noticing when you're being too hard on yourself and offering yourself a moment of grace. It is about taking a deep breath before reacting to a stressful situation and choosing to respond with calm and clarity. It is about acknowledging your needs, your desires, and your boundaries without guilt or shame. One of the most powerful Buddhist practices for self-love is the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the art of paying attention, of being fully present in each moment without distraction. It sounds simple, but in reality, it is a profound practice. We are so often consumed by our thoughts and worries that we forget to live in the present. But when we practice mindfulness, we come back to the moment, to the experience of being alive, and we reconnect with ourselves. Start by being mindful of the simple things, the taste of your food, the feeling of the sun on your skin, the sound of your breath. These small moments are where life truly happens. When you are mindful, you're not lost in your thoughts, regrets, or plans for the future. You are here, fully alive, experiencing life as it is. Self-love through mindfulness also means noticing when you're being unkind to yourself. It means paying attention to the way you talk to yourself, the judgments you make, the criticisms that arise. And when you notice them, you can gently guide yourself back to a place of kindness and compassion. In Buddhist teachings, there's a practice known as the Four Noble Truths, which offers a way of understanding suffering and how to end it. The first truth is that suffering is a part of life. We all experience pain, loss, and difficulty. The second truth is that suffering arises from attachment and desire. We cling to things, to people, to outcomes, and we suffer when they change or slip away. The third truth is that it is possible to end suffering. The fourth truth is the path that leads to the end of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path. The path is not a quick fix. It is not a set of instructions that will make everything perfect overnight, but it is a path of self-discovery, of kindness, of wisdom. And the more you walk this path, the more you will begin to see that self-love is not about achieving anything, but about letting go. Letting go of the need to be perfect. Letting go of the need to be something other than who you are. Through meditation, mindfulness, and the wisdom of the Buddha, you will begin to understand that self-love is not a destination, but a journey. It is a path that unfolds with each breath, with each step, with each moment you choose to be present with yourself. In the end, self-love is not about feeling good all the time. It is about accepting all of who you are, the light and the dark, the joy and the pain, the successes and the failures. It is about being kind to yourself in every moment, no matter what arises. And when you can do that, when you can meet yourself with compassion and love, you'll find a peace that cannot be shaken, a love that cannot be taken away. This is the practice. This is the journey. And with every step, you're moving closer to the truth of who you really are. Not someone you need to become, but someone you already are. You are love. You are enough. And that is where it all begins. The role of karma in self-forgiveness, rewriting your inner story. Sit with me for a while. Let the noise outside settle. Let the noise inside you settle too. You have carried guilt for a long time, haven't you? You think about the past, what you did, what you didn't do. You remember your mistakes more than your kindness. You remember who you hurt, and maybe you also remember who hurt you. There's a storm that hides in many hearts. That storm is called regret. But today I will tell you something simple and true. You can rewrite your story. You do not have to carry your past forever. You do not have to be the same person you once were. Buddhism teaches us that everything changes. The river that flows before your eyes is never the same river twice. And you are also flowing. You are not frozen in time. The person you were 5 years ago is not the person sitting here now. Yet, the pain you carry from the past often feels heavy. Why? Because you believe it is a part of who you are. Because you think karma is a punishment. But karma is not about punishment. Karma is about cause and effect. Nothing more. Nothing less. If you plant seeds of anger, you grow pain. If you plant seeds of kindness, you grow peace. But remember, you can always plant new seeds. The field is never closed. No matter what you planted before, today is a new day. This is karma too. Many people live with self-hatred because they think they deserve to suffer. They think if they punish themselves enough, they will be good again. But listen to this carefully. Hurting yourself does not heal anyone. Punishing yourself does not undo the past. True karma is not about shame. It is about understanding. It is about learning. And it is about changing your path once you see it clearly. So, if you have made mistakes, and you have like all of us, then bow to them. Yes, bow to them. not because they define you, but because they taught you. Without the pain, would you have looked deeper? Without falling, would you have known the strength of getting up? You see, the path to self-love is blocked not by what others think of you, but by what you think of yourself. You replay your failures again and again in your mind. You keep asking yourself, why did I do that? Why didn't I do better? But this question has no end. The mind keeps spinning, and the wound never closes. Forgiveness begins not with a word. It begins with silence. A deep silence where you sit with your own story and no longer run from it. You breathe into it. You feel the shame. You feel the sorrow. And then you let them go, like clouds passing in the sky. You do not need to erase your past. You only need to understand it, to see it for what it was, a moment in time, not the whole of your life. Buddhism teaches us that clinging causes suffering, and clinging to your guilt is no different. Let it go, not because it didn't matter, but because it does not serve you now, and because you are ready for something deeper. You are ready to live without hiding. You are ready to walk forward without the weight of yesterday. You are ready to love yourself, not because you are perfect, but because you are human. You cannot offer real love to yourself while holding a sword against your own heart. So put the sword down. Put the blame down. Stand up as you are, not as the person you wish you had been, but as the person you are now. The person who survived. The person who learned. The person who still has time. Yes, you still have time. Time to speak more kindly to yourself. Time to treat yourself with gentle hands. Time to plant new seeds of compassion, of presence, of love. When you feel unworthy, remember this. Karma does not ask for you to be perfect. It asks for awareness. It asks for intention. If your intention is now to live with love for yourself and others, then already your karma has changed. Every breath you take with awareness is a step toward freedom. Now listen closely. There is no one outside of you who can forgive you more deeply than you can forgive yourself. That is the highest power you hold. The ability to stop the cycle. To look at your reflection and say, I see you. I accept you. I will take care of you now. When you begin to do this, the world outside begins to shift. Not because it changes, but because your vision becomes clearer. The past is not your enemy. It is your teacher. And self-forgiveness is the gate that opens when you stop trying to undo it and start trying to understand it. You're not what happened. You're what you do now. You are the actions you take from this moment forward. You're the love you choose to give, including to yourself. So sit with your past, not as a prisoner, but as a student. Thank it for its lessons. Then gently close the door. You do not have to live there anymore. The path of healing is not straight. Some days, your old guilt will rise again. Let it rise. Watch it. Do not run. Do not fight. Just breathe. And remember, this is part of the work. This is part of the cleansing. No storm lasts forever. No night stays without dawn. Let this be the moment you begin again. The world inside you is still open. The path is still here. And you, yes, you, are still worthy of walking it. Let your karma be guided now by love. Let your story begin again. Return to the self. The final realization of unshakable worth. We have come to the end of this journey. But before we close, let's take a moment and reflect on the road we've walked together. All the steps, all the challenges, and all the small shifts that have brought us closer to understanding the one thing that truly matters, the love we should give ourselves. In the beginning, we started by asking, what does it really mean to love yourself? And now, as we reach this final part, I ask you the same question again, but with deeper insight. What does it mean to truly, deeply love yourself? For most of us, self-love is something distant, something we can't quite grasp, but we feel we need. We chase after it in all sorts of ways, through success, through validation, through approval from others. But in the end, we still find ourselves empty. Why? Because we were searching for love outside, when all along it was waiting inside. It was always there. Buddhism teaches us the importance of self-awareness and mindfulness, being present being real, seeing ourselves without judgment. And as we sit here today, I want you to look back at all the teachings we've shared. Look back at all the moments where you may have felt a shift, a spark, a moment where you realize that you don't need to fix yourself, that you are enough as you are. But even more important than realizing your worth is the act of returning to that truth. Returning to yourself. You see, life will always offer distractions. It will always throw challenges, temptations, and pressures your way. But through it all, there's one constant that can never be taken from you: your true, unshakable worth. This is the final realization. Self-love isn't about perfection. It's about acceptance. It's about understanding that you are human, with all your flaws, your mistakes, your scars. And yet, you are still worthy. You are still enough. In the Buddhist tradition, this is called compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. It's the kind of love that doesn't expect anything in return, because it simply exists. In the beginning of our journey, we spoke about how we often seek validation outside of ourselves. But now, as we come to the end, I want you to know that the most powerful validation you will ever receive is from within. You are not your achievements. You are not your failures. You are not your appearance. You are not what others think of you. You are simply you. And that is more than enough. What would happen if you woke up tomorrow and decided to live from this place of unshakable worth? What would it be like to walk through your day without constantly questioning your value? To make decisions not based on fear, but from a deep understanding that you are already enough? This is the promise of true self-love, the realization that nothing outside of you can define who you are. You are already whole. And so, the path to self-love ends not with a destination, but with a return to yourself, to the core of who you are. You don't need to search for love. You don't need to earn it. It is already here, always has been. It is you. And when you embrace this truth, everything else begins to fall into place. Your relationships, your career, your purpose, all of it begins to shift because it is rooted in the solid ground of self-worth. But this realization isn't always easy. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when the old patterns of self-criticism return, when you feel small or unworthy. But that's okay. It's part of the process. In those moments, remember this: self-love isn't about never feeling doubt. It's about knowing deep down that no matter how you feel, you are still enough. You are still worthy of kindness, of patience, and of love. Even in your darkest moments, you are still worthy. As you move forward, I encourage you to keep this practice close to your heart. Don't wait for the world to show you your worth. Show it to yourself every day. And when you falter, and you will, because we are all human, be gentle with yourself. Remember the teachings of Buddhism, which remind us that life is impermanent. So are your struggles. They will pass, but your worth will remain constant. Self-love is not a destination. It's a journey. And just like any journey, it will have its ups and downs. But when you understand that your value is not tied to anything external, you can face those ups and downs with grace. You can approach each day knowing that no matter what happens, you are already enough. You always have been. Now, as we come to the end of this video, I ask you one final time: will you return to yourself? Will you embrace the truth that you are worthy of love? Not because of what you do or don't do, but because you simply are? Will you let go of the need for perfection and embrace the beauty of your imperfection? This is the essence of Buddhist self-love. It is the love that does not demand anything from you. It is the love that sees you for who you truly are, without judgment, without expectation, without conditions. It is the love that says, you are enough, just as you are. And as you step forward into the world, remember this: when you love yourself, you become a mirror for others. You teach them that they, too, are worthy of love. You become a beacon of light, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. And that is the most beautiful gift you can give to the world: a heart full of love, starting with yourself. Thank you for walking this path with me. May you always return to the truth of your worth. May you always love yourself just as you are. And may you carry this love into the world to heal, to uplift, and to inspire. You are enough. Always have been. Always will be.